Welcome back to our lecture on Chapter 3, Screening and Staging Engagements. In this lecture, we are going to cover Learning Objective 5, which is explain how a scientific approach can be utilized in forensic accounting engagements. So using a scientific process provides order, reasoning, and direction to the assignment or the engagement. Otherwise, you're going to be filtering and going through large amounts of evidence, and that can be a challenging and a daunting task. So by adopting a scientific process, it enhances your credibility as an expert, and it also makes ease of communicating your expert opinion, makes it a lot easier. Now we're going to go over the 5 steps to the scientific process. First, we're going to define the purpose. So the problem must be considered in its entire context. So the forensic accountant must consider the requirements of the engagement, any anticipated conclusions, the relevance of the conclusions with respect to providing a solution to the problem. So a properly stated problem is the guiding force of any subsequent case development. Our next step is to form a hypothesis. A hypothesis is a tentative explanation based on some preliminary observations that are going to be tested. You will have identification of potential explanations, and this is accomplished through abstract reasoning. It's not some systematic procedure. So because of this ambiguity that's inherent in this reasoning process, this skill grows as you have more engagements and more experience. Forming a hypothesis is probably one of the most difficult tasks of this process. Our third step is to gather evidence. Evidence is gathered to test the validity of the hypothesis. So the hypothesis must be reevaluated every time a new piece of evidence is collected. So evidence gathering techniques include observations, interviews, structured activities, financial statement analysis, statistical analysis, benchmarking, case studies, and on and on and on. Our fourth step is to interpret data and then refine the hypothesis. In interpreting the data involves the evaluation of all of the evidence to determine the probability that this hypothesis is true. If you have any inconsistencies, negative facts, or discrepancies in the hypothesis, then this is going to serve as the basis for you refining or adjusting your hypothesis. And the fifth and final step is to draw conclusions. You're going to draw these conclusions both deductively and inductive reasoning. And if the previous steps in the whole process, we've executed them properly, then the conclusion should flow logically from all of the data analysis that we have. So there are benefits to the scientific approach. Although practitioners develop your own method and your own technique as per the requirements and the circumstances of the engagement, general adherence to the scientific approach is a best practice. And the benefits include that you ensure this systematic process that can be duplicated to confirm your results. It reflects your professionalism and due care. It decreases the liability by reducing any types of missteps in your investigation. It facilitates communication of the process and also the results, whether it's in a report form or whether it's in your deposition or your trial testimony. And it is more defensible, right? Because you have the process, and this is commonly accepted in the professional community. And that concludes our lecture for this learning objective. Thanks for watching.